24 years old, Paradip always gets scolded by his mother for continuously attached to his phone. When his girlfriend Nikita tells him that her father has begun presenting some bunch of other guys for marriage, he promises to go over and meet him soon. In the meantime, he invites her to his place on the day of his sister's engagement. She goes there as just his friend, but she ends up impressing all the people and most importantly his mother. 8 months passed by before Paradip is summoned to meet Nikita's strict father. Both of them were confident that the meeting would go well since they knew everything about each other. However, neither of them expected Nikita's father to ask them to swap their phones for 24 hours. He promises that at the end of 24 hours, if they still want to go ahead with their relationship, then he will give them their blessing. And that's all he wants, and they agree. That evening, in an attempt to prevent Nikita from unlocking his phone and discovering all its secrets, Paradip tries to come up with an idea. One of his friends suggests that they make up a fake scenario of password authentication for which he will need his phone. After Paradip rejects this idea, they then proceed to bombard Nikita with endless calls on Paradip's phone relating to his sister's wedding, which was in just 4 days. They hope that she gets frustrated and immediately return his phone to him. Instead, Paradip gets a call on Nikita's phone, saying that they need to ensure it was her number for password authentication. Since this was the same idea they were going to use, Paradip and his friends realized that even Nikita wished to keep Paradip out of her phone using her father's phone. She calls her number to speak to Paradip and apologizes for the test her father was putting them through. Agreeing that they know everything about each other, they both promise that they won't dig into each other's phone for no reason. But Nikita's father makes things worse by Paradip to reveal his unlock pattern and sending him Nikita's unlock pattern as well. The two are then haunted by all the incoming notifications on each other's phones. Eventually, both of them give in and look into the secrets hidden in their phones. Paradip finds an old chat with a guy that Nikita had told him was almost like a brother to her. Turns out that he had promised to her and she had kindly turned him down, but hadn't told Paradip any of it. He calls Nikita to confront her about it, and she tells him that she was just being nice to her since he had been a good friend. She then asks him about the girl that he had sent money. He lies at first, saying she's just some stranger he wanted to help, but then honestly says that she was his ex-girlfriend. Since she had blocked him everywhere, he had no way to contact her, which is why he had thought he would send her money and begin a conversation. Saying that he sent it by mistake, he says that neither did that girl reply to him, nor did he get his money back. Meanwhile, Paradip's sister Devya is speaking to her fiancé, Yogi. When she gets a call from her aunt, she adds him to the call and he listened to Devya's mother and aunt speaking about how he wasn't all that great, even if he was a dentist, and that Devya could do much better. He refuses to tell Devya about it, but remains shocked. On the other hand, Paradip's search for a charger for Nikita's phone takes him all the way to where his friends live together. He then enters the world of Nikita's Instagram DMs. Here, he finds numerous messages from a strange unknown and random men who repeatedly contacted her. He doesn't even realize that he spent the rest of the night immersed in these messages. And it is only when his friends tell him that Devya had called, which he rushes home for her pre-wedding ceremony. When a few ladies notice that Yogi's phone is ringing, they urge Devya to answer it, saying that she has every right to do so. But just as she answers the call, Yogi angrily snatches the phone from her. Meanwhile, Paradip receives a message from Nikita's ex-boyfriend and realizes that not only she has been in contact with him, but they have also been going on long drives together. Moreover, she has been lying about it to Paradip by giving him some or the other excuse as well. When he angrily gives her a call, she first lies about not being in contact with her ex-boyfriend, but when he mentions the recent long drive she was with him at night, she tells him that it was just a drive and nothing else. But Paradip's suspicions drive her to tears, and he tells her to stop acting. Seeing Yogi continuously on his phone at his own pre-wedding function, Devya slowly realizes that what she took as kindness and consideration might not be right. It seems that in reality, he expects her to stay away from his phone in return of giving her space and privacy. This makes her fear the aspect of his life he is hiding from her. At the end of 24 hours, Paradip asks Nikita's father to let him keep her phone for another 3 days, saying that he needs time for a more close checking through all her numerous apps and several friends speaking to Nikita privately. Nikita's father refuses to believe that Paradip has nothing suspicious to hide in his phone, and he might have deleted his chats before handing over his phone to Nikita, so he decides to restore the backup just to be sure. The next day, while Paradip tries to convince his friend to hack into his phone and delete all the data, Nikita is going through messages he has sent to numerous girls. This time she gives him a confrontation call about gathering multiple photographs of girls under the excuse of making a short film. When he tries telling her that he was just helping his friends, Nikita receives another call on Paradip's phone from bank regarding a loan. She is about to disconnect the call when the lady from the bank asks if Paradip is around, not knowing that Nikita added her to their call. Paradip speaks to the bank lady and asks about her well-being, and the girl asks him about those pictures he got for a short film, which irritates Nikita. Overwhelmed by Nikita, Paradip switches the phone to airplane mode for some peace of mind. When Divya approaches him to convince him to make an exchange phones happen with Yogi, he refuses, saying that she should have thought about it when they get engaged. With his refusal, Divya's friends take it upon themselves to create situations such that Yogi will be forced to hand his phone over to Divya. However, after an entire day of tricking Yogi, they are unable to get his phone. While Divya wonders how she will endure a marriage with such a man, Paradip and Nikita's back and forth banter continues. The return of Danish, one of Paradip's friends from college, brings back memories of a fake Instagram account. Back then, several guys from Paradip's class used that fake account, either to get back at people to fool into sending them money or even to check the status of their ex-girlfriends. The main problem with this account is that it's still in use and logged in from Paradip's phone. When he gets a call from Nikita, his entire friend group is scared that she must have seen the fake account with every scumbag stuff in it. Instead, Paradip answers the phone just to be asked why he was still telling people that he is single. When she further asks him how he could give her a puppy that he received from an ex-girlfriend, he tells her to meet him the next day, intending to grab his phone under an excuse and simply log out from the fake account. Surprisingly, when Paradip meets Nikita, it is Yogi who suggests to the rest of the gang that they can simply log into the account from one of their phones and use the logout from all devices option. Unfortunately, while Paradip is happy to know about this option, everyone is trapped when an OTP notification is sent to his phone upon logging from a new device. Once Nikita comes to know about the fake account, she also realizes that it was exactly that account that had been sending her and her sister horrible messages all this time. No matter how sincerely Paradip tries telling her that he wasn't the one who sent those messages, she refuses to believe him. Their meeting ends up with a physical confrontation with Nikita's friend and Paradip. On her wedding reception, Divya tries to snatch Yogi's phone. When the kid runs away with it, Yogi chases him down and drives him to tears. When asked why he is crying, the kid answers that Yogi hit him because he saw a revealing picture of him with some women. Meanwhile, Paradip asks who among his group of friends was responsible for sending those messages to Nikita and her sister, and deeply suspicious of all them, he asks them to leave. The reception left alone, he spots Divya quarreling with Yogi. Paradip tries to get Yogi's phone, but stops when his mother comes over and slaps him. When Paradip breaks down in front of his mother, she calmly tells him if Nikita really loves him, then there is nothing to be worried about. She assures him that irrespective of the number of the guys interested in her, she will never let any of them come closer. She inspires her son to be the trustworthy partner that everyone seeks in a relationship. Later, while Paradip talks to Divya on the phone, Yogi joins him without knowing about Divya listening. Yogi tells Paradip about the constant trolling he faces online. He says that he was protecting her feelings by keeping his phone to himself. He even clarifies that the photo the kid saw earlier was just his gym trainer who was helping him reduce weight. He then goes over to Divya and gives her his unlocked phone. Having heard his sincerity, she decides not to go through it. Looking around the reception hall, later Paradip sees that his friends hadn't left. When he goes over, they try to convince him of their innocence, and ultimately they all end up apologizing to each other, and Paradip decides to meet Nikita right away. However, things take a serious turn when an explicit video of Nikita circulated by one of her male colleagues goes viral. When the video reaches her father, he slaps her repeatedly before smashing Paradip's phone. When he calls her while her father deals with relatives calling to ask about the video, Nikita walks out of the house. When her sister notices Nikita's disappearance, she immediately contacts Paradip. While he looks for Nikita in surrounding areas, he finally finds her at the beach they used to visit together. He tells her that he trusts her and confesses his love. In the meantime, Paradip's friends manage to track down the guy who made the video and get him to accept that it was indeed a fake video. But they didn't figure out who is the one who has sent those messages to Nikita and her sister. Back at Nikita's place, her father explains that he didn't make them exchange phones to break them up, but instead to check if they can trust each other enough to go through life together. Convinced that Paradip is the right guy for his daughter, he asks him to get his mother along one day so they can discuss their next steps. In another test though, he suggests that he swaps phones with Paradip's mother.